What is up, everybody? Jesse Walker here. I want to thank you for stopping back by my channel. Do me a favor, if you do like this video, please make sure you click the like button down there below and show some love. And if you like a lot of the content on the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that little notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Today we're going to talk about my top 5 ways to make intermittent fasting easier. And I know intermittent fasting is a really big topic right now because, number one, it's effective. It's what I personally do. That's the way I personally eat. I personally think it's the best way to eat for life. Now, what a lot of people that are just starting intermittent fasting have an issue with is dealing with the hunger.
For she has begun to feel the awful horror of the hunger.
So the interesting thing about intermittent fasting is once you've been doing it for a little bit, there really isn't any hunger associated with it. Your body just sort of gets used to eating on that schedule. But a lot of people, when they first start, well, they're used to eating breakfast first thing when they wake up in the morning, so their stomach's growling and they really want to eat some food right then. And they're thinking, oh crap, man, I gotta wait till 1 o'clock or whatever it is. So that's why it's really important to know really what the best ways are to deal with that hunger until you get used to the intermittent fasting regimen. So tip number 1, drink yourself some Joe. What I'm saying is if you're not a coffee drinker, become a coffee drinker. Why? Because coffee contains caffeine. We all know that. The cool thing about caffeine is it does what? It helps curb hunger. It also raises your metabolism, which is awesome too. And it gets you going in the mornings. In the mornings now, based on your intermittent fasting, you're not eating, but you're drinking some coffee. Now, this is really important though. When you're drinking coffee, all you want to put in it is maybe a little bit of cinnamon max. You're not putting in any sugar, you're not putting in milk, you're not putting in creamers, you're not putting in non-dairy creamer, you're definitely not putting in artificial sweeteners. Those are awful.
Inhale this, but do not touch. What you do not smell is among the more deadly poisons known to man.
Now, what you can do is if you really need a little bit of sweetness in your coffee, you can make sure you put in some natural stevia, not a stevia blend. You don't want any stevia with like maltodextrin or dextrin in there because that can spike your blood sugar and pull you out of a fast. What you really want to do, if you want to add a little bit of sweetness, just make sure it's just natural stevia. I like to use the stevia drops I get from Whole Foods. That's the way that I like to go. Tip number 2, stay hydrated. Now what this means is drink more water than you would normally drink. You can drink green tea if you want. Make sure it isn't sweetened, of course. But drink more non-calorie fluids than you would normally drink. Now obviously staying hydrated is important, but here's something a lot of people don't realize. When you think you're hungry, it might not mean that you're hungry. What it might mean is that you're a little bit dehydrated. And your brain can interpret that feeling as hunger.
The hunger.
One way to make sure that you quell any chance of that feeling showing up and you misinterpreting it as hunger is to make sure that you stay adequately, I'd say more than adequately, hydrated throughout the course of the day. Also, just having something in your stomach also helps quell that sense of hunger. So just constantly keep sipping water or green tea throughout the day, and that will really make a big difference for you. Tip number 3, stay busy. You ever one of those days that's really, really busy? You know, when you wake up and you're just running and running and running until it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And by the time you look down at your watch, you go, oh crap, I haven't eaten yet. It's been 8 hours since you woke up. You didn't even realize you hadn't eaten. That's really what the key is. Your brain is an interesting thing. If there's nothing going on, then your brain just starts looking for other things to focus on. So if you're just sitting there really doing nothing, or you're sort of sleepwalking through work, or just kind of hanging out, just browsing social media, and then you start to scroll through social media and see like pictures of people eating pizza and eating steaks and baked potatoes go by, then yeah, you're gonna get hungry. That's just the way that it works. But if you are just focused in making whatever you need to make happen that day, you're busy and you're getting stuff done, believe me, that hunger is going to take a back seat to that. So the great benefit that comes along with that is you just happen to get more stuff done. How do you beat that? Awesome. Tip number 4, try sprinkling in some keto on some of your days with intermittent fasting. And let me explain what I mean by that. I personally like to do it in a way where I practice keto during the week, or I eat fairly ketogenically, meaning I eat very low carb during the course of the week, and instead of eating carbs, I eat a lot more fats and protein during the course of that week as opposed to eating the carbs. Then on the weekends, because I'm not ashamed of carbs, I'm not angry at carbs, I like to eat carbs.
Put that down. Now eat it. Hey!
I definitely throw those more in on the weekends. And let me tell you why that really works, or at least why it works for me. Carb intake, depending upon what sort of carb you're talking about, tends to be a little bit more difficult to control than, let's say, protein. For instance, you ever go to a Chinese restaurant, order yourself a nice plate of shrimp fried rice? Now, have you ever tried to eat a proper small portion of that shrimp fried rice? Sure, you might try, but if you get that pint that's like this, and it's just you, by the time you're done, you will probably eat that whole friggin' pint. Why? Because it tastes so good, and when you're eating rice, there's really no reason to stop. I mean, for some odd reason, your body doesn't necessarily get full. And even if it does get full, let's say you eat enough, you're like, oh, I can't eat anymore. Wait 20 minutes. 20 minutes, you'll be able to go right back to that rice and eat some more. Same thing with pizza, same thing with spaghetti, same thing with potatoes. I mean, that's the sort of issue that we have with carbs. French fries, cereal, toast, bread. Oh my God, bread. Think about the bread they bring you out at the beginning of your meal. You know, a lot of times, remember when your mother would say this? Hey, listen, don't eat all the bread. You're going to fill up. You won't be able to eat your dinner. I challenge you to show me somebody that can eat some bread at the beginning of their meal now that's full by the time their dinner arrives. It's not the way that it works. That's what I mean where I say with carbs, it's a little bit more difficult to manage your caloric intake than with the other macros. So what I do during the week is I focus more on keto. I get all the benefits of the keto. It really does a great job of managing my weight. This is why I like to do keto during the week. Now on the weekends, I'll let some pizza in, I'll let some ice cream in, I'll let some pasta in. It doesn't really matter. I'm still doing the intermittent fasting, which is an excellent control for my caloric intake. But even if I overdo it a little bit on the weekends, who cares? Monday through Friday, I'm right back doing my keto along with my intermittent fasting, and all is good in my hood. That's why I love that. I mean, that's something that can be sustained very easily. And also with me, when I eat a lot of starchy carbs like that, it tends to make me hungrier. So on the weekend, when I let the carbs back in, I'll wake up on Sunday morning and all of a sudden I'm hungry, which I'm not normally hungry like that during the week when I'm eating ketogenically. And for whatever reason, whenever I just eat a lot of carbs like that, a lot of starchy carbs especially, I start off hungry early in the morning. So to avoid that, like I said, what works for me is going keto during the week. In the last tip, sleep through it. If you've set up your schedule so that you stop eating at, let's say, 6 or 7 o'clock at night, but you're not going to bed till midnight or 1 a.m., that's going to be a problem. Or at least it's a problem for me and most people, because what happens is now you've got 5 or 6 hours before you even go to bed that you're fasting again. You may have trouble sleeping when you're hungry. So really the best way to play this is to stop eating maybe an hour or two max before you go to bed. So maybe stop eating at 9 p.m. and be in bed by 11. The great thing about that is you're sleeping through the big part of your fast for the next 6, 7, 8 hours. And then once you get up, what are you going to do? You're going to drink some coffee, and that's going to curb your hunger throughout the rest of the time. Because obviously right before you go to bed, you're not going to be drinking some coffee to curb your hunger because you're not going to be able to go to sleep. You're going to be able to use that coffee tip in the morning. So that's why I say, try to sleep through your fast in the beginning hours. Don't stop eating and then stay awake for another 6 or 7 hours and stay fasted. That makes things a lot more difficult than they need to be. So, there you have it. Those are my 5 tips on making intermittent fasting easier. If you guys have any questions or any other suggestions or things that you do to make intermittent fasting easier, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Take care, guys.